Mad Max here. You've been playing Stationeers for a while now and worked out that power is life. You've got the fixed solar panels and they're just not cutting it anymore. You've upgraded to moving solar panels thinking this will solve it, only to find yourself pulling out the wrench and tweaking the angles every few minutes. And you're thinking about throwing that same wrench across the base. Then you've looked at logic chips and thought, what type of madman has time to work this out? But it looks simple compared to the IC way, right? No coding? Introducing Solar Maxi MK1, a way to fully automate your solar tracking on most planets. Once configured, it just works. The best part? No precious power is wasted at night. If you think that is good, let's jump into the setup of hardware and configuring it. Then if you're having a little bit of trouble, we'll do some troubleshooting somewhere in the mix. Alrighty, let's set up some, here we go. So you can do dual panels or single. I like single because it uses less cable. You can put as many solar panels down as you'd like. Make sure that the port is facing the same direction as each other. Then you probably want somewhere to store some power. Make sure you complete your solar panels. I'm using the heavy ones right now, so let's try a little weld. Finish this. Turn that on. Do some cabling. I'm using heavy cable because the light cable you can only put about 10 solar panels on it. But whatever cable you wish to use is up to you. And then we want to put in one there. Alright, then we want a transformer. We want power going that away. We want to make it 51 watts and confirm. We want to turn it on. We want to put the housing down, making sure the power is going towards the transformer. Then we want a sensor, put it anywhere on the network facing any direction because that'll be configured. And that is it. Turn that on. Then all we need is the IC chip. So you'll need a computer, power source, and an IC chip editing board. I'm going to cheat with my power right now so I don't run out while doing anything. On here. That in there. Put that in here. And then make sure that we connect up to our data section. So we'll temporarily do that. And then we're going to connect our power to our computer here really quickly, like something like that. Set it up, turn it on. And then we want to go to edit. Come up into the library, find the Solar Tracker MK1. Yes, there's going to be a second one. I'm just going to do a little bit more code tweaking at the moment. It's a little bit big for the game. Hit overwrite. Then we're going to do the config in here. We need to know which way the panels and ports are facing. So to do that, the easiest way is to look at what you set up. So this one, the power port, it's referring to on the solar panel, which is heading that direction. So down in my right-hand corner, it says 91. So that is east. 0 is north. 180 is south. Yeah. And 270 is west. Now, for the daylight sensor, it's the port on this side facing that way, which is north for us. So let's come in here. We're going to set up our panel. Our panel is east. Our solar panel is already set as 1. This is north. So then I'll talk about the other two bits a little bit later, but if we hit export, our solar panels should start working, but they're not going to. They're flashing thing, 120. That is, we don't have our daylight sensor hooked up, so our D00, make sure that is on the daylight thing, pick it up, drop it. If you're wondering what line or why that code is, if you look at the number, it tells you the number of the line of the code. If you scroll down to the line of the code in here, it has all of my errors. If it's somewhere else in the code, it is some other problem that shouldn't happen. But if it does, let us know. So here, 120, error, daylight center not connected. And then there's other errors that might happen. Yeah, cool. So that is the basic setup and sort of the minimum. If you would like the optional switch extra, you can put that in. So it's this switch or it is the lever. I prefer the lever because, you know, it looks like it's up. You can sort of tell that it's on or active. And then for that one, you need to put in the D1, make it the lever or the switch, whatever you've set. And then as it's active, it'll go back to the sunset orientation, which, you know, we can do that. And now for some troubleshooting and the extra configuring stuff in there, you know, if you've got this on and your solar panels are turned around, they're faced away from the sun. If you turn it off, they're going to stay there. So the easiest way to fix that, or the best method that I found, and it also helps if you have a late afternoon storm and they don't seem to reset themselves sometimes, make some more panels, and then connect them up. Something like this. And we want a bit of glow, and I don't run out, and then they go back to sun up. Yeah, sounds pretty cool. All right, so if you're having trouble with working out which orient, I'll fix that one in a minute. I have a little bit trouble with the orientation setup. In the code here, there is a bit of a handy dandy feature, which is P mode. So the P mode, you can actually set it so that the solar panels will face sunrise or 90 degrees. So once you change the code, make sure you hit export so it can turn around. Once you've got the P mode in something other than 0, it will flash orange saying that the P mode is not 0. It's basically just running a single instruction that the panels will do, and then it holds. So now they're going to turn and face towards the sun, and if they're facing towards the sun or 90 degrees, you have the panel in the correct orientation. You can check the solar panel, the daylight sensor as well. If you would like to do that, it's in Edit, P mode, daylight sensor port is number 2. Hit confirm and execute, and then they'll rotate around sort of the face, the port direction. Now, the easiest way that I like to see that it's the correct way, if you have a cable and you're going to connect it into the panel, is like this, and that's the way the port is facing here. Yeah, cool, too easy. The power mode, I'm going to reset it to 0 so it tracks normally. The low output power mode is just for the night parking thing. If you've got sort of a very few panels, like sort of less than 4, you probably want it at about 40%, and you shouldn't have any trouble. If you've got a little bit higher than that, it tends to sometimes get stuck. But, you know, we can pull our lever up, set it back to day. I think I've got I've got a slight bug here. Give me 1 second. I'm just going to fix that. We'll work out what it's happening. Someone mentioned it to me before. Alrighty, I'm back. I've added an extra feature in and has fixed that park bug. If I have any other bugs, let us know. I think that should be everything now out of there. But anyway, how this low angle sun works is essentially if something's next to you and the sun is a little bit higher than 75. So 0 is the sun directly above you, and 75, it should be 90, like horizontal. However, the panels don't go exactly horizontal. They're slightly like got a bit of an angle, as you see there. So 75 is the angle from there. If you have built your solar panels next to a hill in the afternoon, occasionally I've had the panels not return to us. So if you reduce that number from 75 down to say 70 or even less, it should counteract that ability. If I'm going to cheat right here, and if your neighbour doesn't get council approval, or the council does approve the the build of a construction next to your nice solar array here, you can adjust it. So, you know, if we just quickly build a slight wall. Say something's built or the slight hills in the way there, the solar panels won't quite reset. So to make them turn earlier, so it's not bracketed, you can just increase that number. I'm going to say it's probably, let's have a stab of the dark here. And let's change this to say 60. 65. Let's be. Confirm, export, and we'll just fast forward. Alrighty, we're on the sunset here. As I said, the solar panels should be able to turn a little bit earlier. Once the efficiency below 40%, it should turn. If it doesn't and you've got shade on it like it is now, it just means that our angle is still a little bit high. So if we come back in here and change it to maybe 60, confirm, export, yep, so 60 seems like probably a better number, so we can do it that way. There is one more feature that I haven't mentioned, and that is the solar panels can track 100% of the time, as long as the port has power at all, sorry, the IC housing has power all the time. You can just change your low power output to 0, hit confirm, and export it, and as long as your controller, your IC housing, has power all night long, they will follow the sun in the direction all day, all night. It just means that you use power during the night rather than the standard setup that I had before. Hope you enjoy. Now, this is Mad Max signing out.